Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're embarking on, well, kind of a mission. We're exploring how to build something you can't see but is absolutely essential. Strength of character.
Yeah, we've gathered some really fascinating sources thinking on integrity, discipline, inner strength.
And they all seem to point towards this really powerful core idea, something we're calling the fortress within.
Exactly. And this isn't just, feel-good talk. We're digging into a pretty ancient philosophical concept, inner sovereignty.
Inner sovereignty. Tell us more about that.
Think of it like this. There's a territory inside you. Your thoughts, your choices, your core values. That's always perpetually under your control, no matter what's going on outside.
So, like, it's the one place you're always the ruler.
Precisely. You are the absolute, undisputed ruler of that inner realm.
That idea, inner sovereignty. It perfectly sets up this metaphor we found woven through the sources. The castle no one can break.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this incredibly powerful story that just brings it to life. It's about the boxer, Reuben Hurricane Carter.
Carter, yes. An incredible example. Wrongfully convicted, spent nearly, 20 years behind bars?
Yeah, the injustice was staggering. But somehow he resisted that psychological prison. He actually said, famously, "I don't believe the prison exists for me."
Which sounds almost impossible, but he meant that while his body was locked up, his core, his dignity, his thoughts, his spirit, that stayed free. He controlled that.
Wow. I mean, that really defines the stakes, doesn't it? When literally everything else is taken, your inner life is still yours.
It is.
So our mission today is to explore the architecture of that fortress. How do we actually build it? How do we maintain it against all the external stuff? And critically, how does that inner strength turn into, real action in the world?
Okay, so to start building, you first need to understand the boundaries. Where does your control actually begin and end? Zeno, way back, really laid this out.
The philosopher Zeno.
That's the one. He famously said something like, if you lay violent hands on me, you'll have my body, but my mind will remain with Stilpo. Stilpo was his teacher.
So he's drawing a really clear line there. Like, you can mess with the physical stuff, but the real me, untouchable.
Exactly. He's asserting the mind's inviolability.
But hang on, if that's true, why do we feel so beaten down by things? By, circumstances or what people say?
Because Zeno was describing a potential, not an automatic state. The sources really emphasize this. The fortress gates, they can't actually be breached from the outside. They can only be surrendered from within.
Surrendered? How?
We do it. We're the ones who let a nasty comment or a setback or unfairness dictate our internal state. We essentially hand over the keys, voluntarily giving up that sovereign power.
Okay, wow, that completely shifts the responsibility, doesn't it? It puts it right back on us.
It does.
So even if someone is being awful, truly mean or unfair, the immediate choice, how you react, whether you stoop to their level or choose kindness or just maintain your dignity, that choice is still yours. It's your sovereign act.
It is a really high-stakes moment every time. And that principled response, it does two things. It protects your own character, yes, but it also ripples outwards.
How so?
Well, think about Carter again. His refusal to let bitterness consume him, even while unjustly locked up, that became an inspiration, a beacon for others.
Right.
So when we manage to sustain our own dignity, act with principle, even in small ways, day to day, it actually influences the people around us. It shapes the environment.
So being sovereign inside requires doing things outwardly, which leads us right into integrity, doesn't it?
Perfectly.
Integrity.
Which is basically doing what you said you'd do, even when it's hard, or you'd rather, I don't know, play video games instead of helping with that project you promised.
Yes, but we need to refine that a bit. The
Yeah.
sources are very clear. We often confuse meaning well with doing well. Virtue isn't about good intentions.
Okay.
It's fundamentally about the action. Character isn't built on fuzzy feelings. It's revealed in the work you actually do, the promises you keep, especially as the saying goes, when no one's watching. Yeah. That's the real test.
That's when you see if the structure's actually sound.
That's challenging, though, because, intention feels easier. It's comforting to think, oh, I meant to be kind, or I intended to finish that.
Of course.
But if virtue is only in the action, the sources pose this really sharp question. Are you doing your job?
And it don't just mean you're 9 to 5.
Right. Not your employment. It's your job as a person. To be kind, keep your word, try hard, pursue what you've decided matters.
Exactly. And this connects to something maybe a bit counterintuitive about success and discipline. There's this great observation from Albert Ian Gray.
Oh, yeah. What did he say?
He studied successful people, And he noted they don't necessarily like doing the hard, repetitive, sometimes boring things needed to reach their goals any more than anyone else does.
Okay, so what's the difference then?
They simply form the habit of doing the things that failures don't like to do. They just do them.
That's a huge distinction. It's not about enjoying the grind.
Not necessarily. It's about recognizing it needs doing
Yeah.
and then doing it anyway.
But how do you keep making that choice? When the easy path, the path of least resistance, is always right there, looking so tempting.
That's where you need an anchor, an internal one. The sources are really clear. Discipline without a purpose is just pointless suffering.
Right.
You absolutely have to know deep down, what is the most important thing to me? What are my core values?
Can you give an example?
Sure. If your core value is being a truly present parent, then the choice to put down the phone and spend that extra hour reading with your kid, even if you're tired, it stops feeling optional. It feels necessary because it aligns with what you've decided matters most.
Okay, so clarity on your values gives you the leverage, the why.
Exactly. That clarity provides the reason to choose the harder, more disciplined path over the easier one.
That definitely makes the idea of discipline feel less like punishment and more like just aligning with yourself. But it can still feel huge, right? The idea of choosing the hard thing day after day, week after week.
Oh, absolutely. It sounds exhausting. Which is why we have to talk about the power of the small step. You don't build Rome or this fortress in a day,
You build it brick by brick.
one brick at a time. And this is where you see incredible agreement across centuries of wisdom.
Like Seneca. I think we saw that reference.
Yes. Seneca looked at the huge journey to wisdom and basically said, look, just find one thing a day, one small thing that makes you better. Maybe it's a conversation. Maybe it's absorbing one useful quote. Maybe it's one tiny act of self-control.
Just one thing, incremental.
Totally incremental.
Yeah.
And Zeno, centuries before him, said something similar. Well, being is realized by small steps, but it's no small thing. Those small choices, they compound.
Compound, like interest.
Exactly like interest. Every time you keep a small promise to yourself, you add a brick, you strengthen the foundation. Every time you break one, even a tiny one, you weaken it slightly. Consistent daily effort literally changes the architecture of your character over time.
And for that compounding to really work its magic, you need, well, Leo Tolstoy pointed it out, didn't he? You need two crucial allies.
Oh yes, the two most powerful warriors.
Patience and time. You won't see the fortress fully built in a week. Or even a month, maybe. Character takes time.
That is absolutely right. Time does the heavy lifting, but only if you're consistently putting in the work. You don't have to be perfect. Nobody is. You just have to keep trying, keep laying those bricks.
And this is important, you can't just sit back and wait for time to do its thing, right? It's not passive.
No, absolutely not. That's a crucial distinction. Time has to be used, actively used.
That reminds me of Jim Rohn's point. He said something like, life doesn't get better by chance, it gets better by change.
Exactly. And change requires choice, which forces us to think about how we're actually spending our hours. Are we choosing alive time, time where we're engaged, learning, present, or dead time, just passively letting the hours slip away?
Yeah, that decision. Either you run the day or the day runs you. You have to actively choose.
And to run the day effectively, you first need to know your direction. You need that internal compass, which brings us to the need for quiet reflection.
Ah, stepping back from the noise.
Yes. The sources call it essential food for the soul. Tolstoy, again, he observed that the more intentionally solitary a person is, not isolated in a bad way, but choosing moments of quiet, the more clearly they can hear that inner voice, the voice of truth or conscience.
It's like turning down the volume on everything else, the phone, the news, the demands, so you can actually hear your own internal guidance system.
Precisely. Henri Hamel described it beautifully as a sincere conversation between God, our conscience, and ourself. Just checking in.
But it's not just about being alone, is it? That necessary quiet has to be balanced.
Absolutely. Balance is key. You need that inner reflection, but you also have to be really aware of your, let's call it social architecture, the people around you.
Your friends, colleagues.
Yeah. You need to look at them honestly. Do they reinforce your fortress? Do they encourage your integrity, your better impulses? Or do they, maybe unintentionally, weaken it, enable your less than great tendencies?
That's a tough assessment to make sometimes.
It is, but the company you keep is a massive vote for the person you are becoming. It matters hugely.
Which leads to that kind of paradox, doesn't it? About self-care versus service. You built the fortress for yourself to be strong, but not just for yourself.
Exactly. It can't be purely self-absorbed. There's that classic ancient two-part question that captures it perfectly. If I am not for me, who is? You have to build your own strength first.
Right, take care of yourself.
But the second part asks, if I am only for me, who am I? The strength you build ultimately has to be for something beyond just you. It has to find expression and service in contribution.
So how do we make this practical? Bridge the gap from philosophy to just getting through Tuesday.
Okay, good question. The sources offer some really useful practical tools. Think of them as key questions you can ask yourself regularly. They act like watchmen on the castle walls, checking what comes in and goes out.
All right, let's hear them. What are these practical tools?
There are four main ones that really stand out. The first is maybe the most fundamental. Can I control this?
Okay, can I control this? How does that help?
It's all about managing your energy. When something stressful happens or you start worrying, ask this first. If the answer is no, you can't control the weather, someone else's bad mood, the economy, then you must stop pouring your limited mental and emotional energy into it.
And focus on what you can control instead.
Exactly. Your response, your attitude, your next action. Triage your energy.
Got it. What's the second question?
The second is about building your identity brick by brick. Is this who I want to be?
Is this who I want to be? So applying that to, like, everyday choices.
Every single choice. Whether to snap back or be patient. Whether to cut corners on a task or do it right. Whether to gossip or stay quiet. Each choice is a vote cast for the kind of person you are becoming. Ask yourself, is this vote aligning with the person I genuinely aspire to be?
That makes every small decision feel weightier, more meaningful.
It is. Okay, third question. This one brings ruthless efficiency. Does this actually matter?
Does this actually matter? Oh, I can see how that cuts through a lot of noise.
Right. So much of what we worry about, get stressed over, or even spend time doing is, frankly, inessential. It doesn't move the needle on what's truly important.
Oh.
Asking this helps you eliminate the trivial.
Freeing up energy and time for what does matter.
Precisely. Because wasting resources on the unimportant is the quickest way to weaken the fortress.
Makes sense. And the fourth question.
It ties back to that idea of active time. Will this be alive time or dead time?
Okay, explain that one more.
Are you actively engaged in this moment? Are you learning, growing, connecting, contributing, even just being truly present? Or are you just passively killing time, scrolling endlessly, zoning out, basically letting the day run you instead of you running the day? It's about intentional use of your moments.
Wow. Those four questions. Can I control this? Is this who I want to be? Does this actually matter? And will this be alive time or dead time? They really feel like practical handles.
They're daily maintenance for your inner sovereignty. And when you consistently apply them, when you build that internal integrity, that strength inevitably needs to express itself outwardly.
Which brings us to another great metaphor from the sources.
Ah, yes, the final big one for how character shows up. Being in a fountain, not a drain.
I love that visual. Explain it.
A fountain has filled itself up internally with strength, with purpose, with that integrity we've been talking about, so it naturally overflows. It gives that energy, goodness, generosity.
And a drain.
A drain does the opposite. It constantly takes energy. It complains, it depletes others, it sucks the positivity out of the room. It hasn't filled itself, so it tries to pull from elsewhere. It's a stark way to assess your impact.
Are you adding energy or taking it? A fountain or a drain? Powerful.
And that internal capacity, that ability to be a fountain, also give you the power to handle difficult emotions constructively.
Yeah.
Especially something like anger.
Oh yeah, anger. How does the fortress help with that?
Well, the sources suggest you have three basic choices when anger flares up. Option 1, suppress it. Shove it down.
Which usually backfires, right? Hurts you inside.
Exactly. Hurts you. Option 2, explode it. Vent it outwards. Lash out.
Which hurts other people, damages relationships.
Right. Hurts others. So neither of those works long term. The third choice, the sovereign choice, is to transform it.
Transform anger.
Take that raw energy, because anger is energy, and channel it productively. Don't react instantly. Maybe you channel it into intense physical activity. Maybe into quiet, deep reflection to understand the boundary that was crossed. Maybe into calm, structured communication about the issue later on.
So the sovereign mind stays in charge. It doesn't let the emotion hijack the control panel of the castle.
That's the idea. You manage the energy, you don't let it manage you.
And this internal control, this ability to transform negative energy, maintain your principles even when it's tough, this leads to what the sources suggest is the highest aim, doesn't it?
It does. It leads to what Miguel de Cervantes called the highest valor of life. And what is that?
Peace.
Peace. But importantly, this isn't the peace of having no problems. It's not the absence of external storms. It's the internal tranquility, the calm center within the storm.
Mm.
That proves your fortress is truly strong, truly sovereign.
So ultimately, when we look across all these sources, the meaning of your life isn't defined by what you believe or what you intend or what you hope for.
No, it's simpler and maybe harder than that. Your actions and decisions provide the answer. What you actually do, day in and day out, especially when things are difficult or no one's checking, that's what writes your story. That is the architecture of your fortress.
Right. So to keep that castle strong, it comes back to those daily choices. Keep your promises, even the small ones. Look for those small acts of goodness. Make time for that quiet reflection. Actively choose patience. Try to be a fountain.
Exactly. And remember, it's not about being perfect. You will slip up. We all do. The key is just to keep trying, keep coming back to these principles, reinforcing that internal boundary, one choice at a time.
And that commitment, it requires constant effort, doesn't it? Growth isn't static. If your character is built brick by brick and the sources all agree, you have to push beyond what you've already mastered to truly grow.
Then that leads to a final thought, maybe a challenge for you, the listener, to take away today.
Okay, what is it?
If character requires stretching beyond your current capabilities, ask yourself this. What is the one thing, just one, you will choose to learn or practice or improve today that genuinely challenges your current level of mastery? Where will your sovereign action begin right now?